Hello. John, I can't hear you. I can't, doesn't matter. I know you can only hear me, but not you. I don't know what's going on with that. Well, Joel's intro has been cut short due to some
Right, I think that should be
technical
better.
issues.
I don't know whether you can hear me now. You'll have to tell me, Spud. But on the PS5, it does this weird thing where as soon as you start a broadcast, it mutes your microphone. So that's not very useful. But I was saying, we are here in France at the Circuit Paul Ricard for post-season EU1. Should be a good race. Not a very big grid, but pretty competitive. I am joined by Spud, as you've already heard him before you heard me. So good evening, Spud.
Good evening, Joel. Very excited about this race as it's EU1 and I've not watched one of these live before, so something new.
Yeah, I think the first person starting his lap will be Rowan. And it is dry. It's pretty cloudy, so it possibly may rain later. And we are going to go on a lap of Paul Ricard on board the Williams car. So, coming into turn 1, braking at about 50 metres, clipping the apex and hugging the curb on the inside for turn 2. As you run down into turn 3, again late braking, and then once again hitting the apex nicely into turn 4 and 5 as he comes through turn 6. Long sweeping right-hander, flat out through turn 7 and down the big straight, which is separated by a chicane, which is difficult to nail. Braking at about 70 metres. Probably Uzi invalidates on the exit. That's not how you want to do it, but we'll stick with him anyway as he stays flat out through this turn and entering sector 3 now. Late on the brakes, late apex, get on the power as early as you can. The same here, another late apex. So as he gets a big kick of oversteer and goes off the track and is going to come through now into the last corner to complete a fairly scuffed lap of Paul Ricard, but it's his first laps of this track. This track was only announced 15 minutes before the race, so the drivers didn't have chance to practice. Well, some of them did, as Tom Robbo goes provisional pole with a 27.6. I'd expect to see that beaten.
Fruitful has span on his lap. Not the best of starts for the EU1 champ of last season.
Yeah.
But sure to improve.
As Fred on the medium tyre has put himself in P2, 2 seconds behind Tom Robbo. That just shows the speed of the EU2 champion, for those of you who watched last season. We've got a couple of drivers out on track. As Snipes is just coming to start a lap, yeah. Oh, actually, no, he's just come to finish a lap, my bad. He beats Tom Robbo by just over a tenth. And Vaporizer smashes them both out of the water with a 27.0, and that, on a banker, is impressive. Very, very impressive.
Come in behind closely, could he go to... Oh, no.
Oh, not... No, 4 tenths. Yeah. That is some lap, it seems, by Vaporizer. The rest of the grid quite a way off. Who else is coming through? Fruitful is just starting a lap, as he's got a bit of traffic from Matty. Hopefully Matty will get out of his way as he does. Quite late, but reasonably well. Obviously Fruitful winning the Tier 1 championship in Season 7 without winning a race, I believe. So that's consistency at his finest. And I think Fruitful will be looking to replicate that form going into this fun season. Obviously, whilst it is only for a bit of fun and all that, he will still hoping to win these races and put himself on some good form going into the new game. As always, spins round and he just keeps it out of the wall. Obviously, the wall's quite far away from the track round here, but that's not what you want to be doing.
Is anyone else left?
No, there's a couple of people just coming to start a lap. Yeah, Matty's invalidated his outlap, but that doesn't really matter. Matty in the Mercedes, something I've never seen before. Normally an EU2 driver, so it's a bit of a challenge being an EU1 tonight. But with only 13 people on the grid, he can certainly score some points if things go his way. As you've got a couple drivers. Oh, as Tom actually looked to impede Matty quite heavily there. That's going to ruin his run onto the straight. Obviously, we're not doing incidents in this post-season bit of fun, but I'm sure if this was a real season, that would be going to the stewards.
Mentos has also just started his first flying lap.
Yeah, Mentos making his contest of speed debut, actually. He's a member of the esports team, and yeah, he's in for the race tonight. Fairly quick driver, possibly in the nicest way possible. Maybe slightly going to struggle tonight. He's quick, but some of these guys in here are just ridiculous. But he's by no means a pushover, Mentos, and I think he can score points. As Matty's now going to come and finish his lap. And it is a 29.6 on the soft tyre, obviously quite hampered by some other drivers, as is Mentos possibly there. Ooh, he's getting a big kick of oversteer, as we've seen other drivers do in that corner. So he's going to come through the final corner.
Matty is going for another lap. He is half a second up on his time through sector 1.
So Mentos puts himself P6, a second in front of Matty, but Matty is half a second up. Hopefully he won't run out of battery. Yes, but I think you might just want to turn your mic up a little bit. I think you're a bit quiet.
Will do quickly. Hopefully that has solved the issue. Press something, it's gone weird. Nice.
Try to look for a driver on a lap. We've got Tom Robber, 3/10 up. Yeah, that's not.
We're going into pit now for some fresh softs, possibly. Yep.
It's Tom Robber took the. Yeah, Tom's going to finish his lap now, put himself P2. Still not managing to match the time of Vaporizer, but that's. I mean. Yeah, that's kind of goes without saying. Vaporizer's time is quite fast, although I would be expecting to see people dip into the 26s. Who else is coming through? I think Carter, maybe. No, he's invalid. We've got a Williams. I guess that's Snipes as he pits. Milan in the Mercedes is backed off his lap. He's going to go again.
I think Fruit is on a flyer coming near the end.
Fruitful. Yeah, P10 hasn't set a lap yet. in sector 3 now, gets a little bit of oversteer on entry. I think Fruit is on the wheel tonight. He usually does use the controller, so challenging himself. That's what we like to see. Puts himself P5. 27-8. Pretty respectful. We have a Red Bull of Tom, but I believe that's just him pitting.
Possibly.
I don't know.
He's come to finish a lap.
Yeah, he's coming to finish a lap now. The NSX driver can't match his time. That possibly just goes to... Oh, but Alp can match his time and beat it. Not by much, but... track position is key around a track like France. It can be quite difficult to overtake, especially if a DRS train develops. I think Milan now has... he's invalidated his lap, so... it's Jasak finally gets into the session. That's good. So, who's on a lap? Fruitful? No, that's an in-lap. Rowan. And it's invalid. And I believe Vaporizer... Vaporizer and Alp on laps either, so we've got a bit of a lull in proceedings. Mentos is on an outlap on the medium tyre.
Tom has just said in the chat that he's wet in the race.
Oh, wet in the race.
A few things up.
That is going to spice things up. And to be honest, I maybe would have hoped it would be dry around here, because I think in the wet it's going to be difficult to make overtakes, and with it being post-season, I think all we really want to see is some good fun. But it will be a challenge driving in the wet, that's for sure.
Mentos going out on the mediums. I don't know if he checked the weather or not, but
yeah,
I'll let him fly with it.
Yeah, possibly.
Matty and Valadares, I don't know if I got another lap on that. But he's now backed out while he was 7 tenths up as well.
So Mentos has pitted. Does an outlap on the mediums and comes back in. Maybe he was informed that it's going to be wet in the race. Maybe he heard us talking about it. So the only person out on track, well, not the only person, but the only outlapper on the track is Carter, currently in P8 with a 28.3.
I think I'll be pushing for at least a top 3 start and see how we can do in the wet weather.
Yeah, that will possibly be his aim.
Is he going to go?
He's getting some heat into the tyres. He's going to get a wide run through the final corner to get on the power earlier. Carry more speed over the line. Now let's watch on board the McLaren car quite late on the brakes into turn 1. Bit of oversteer on the exit as he backed out. Mustn't have been happy with that. I thought he looked pretty clean, even with a bit of oversteer. It still looked quite fast, but he mustn't have been happy with it. Maybe he realises he can only get one more run in and wants to get it perfect. Milan and Andy are out on track. Andy's the first one to start his lap, so I guess we'll stay on board with him. Invalidated his outlap, but that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think Carter's going to go again on these tyres. He turned the ERS off and coming straight for the line to get another lap in quickly.
Yeah, I think the timing glitch will be present, as will the lights glitch in this session, as we the spectators, are hosting the session. So we've been codemasters a bit there, but car moving really slowly.
I need to turn my volume up still. Probably because I'm talking quiet. I am a bit shy.
Yeah, you'll be fine. So we have Andy now on his lap, which is invalid, so he's not going to get a lap in. We've got Milan just behind him. I don't know what his first sector was. As he comes down the straight, there's a bit of traffic here. Let's hope he doesn't get held up. It's certainly going to distract him, that's for sure.
Hopefully I've not made this too loud now.
He sounds fine for me as his teammate Matty gets out of the way, as does Andy, but there's still Mentos in the Alfa Romeo who he's in his way. I hope he's going to get, he pulls out to the side on the exit. Maybe not the best way to get out of the way. Milan may not be too happy about that, but screeching the tyres.
Also said, could we turn the game audio up a bit?
Yeah, I can do that for you. Audio. Let's turn the master volume up to 8. Hopefully that's a bit better. Let me know in the chat. So Milan puts himself in P5. Not a bad lap there. Who is going to be the next to cross the line? Is that Carter? It is Carter. A 10th up, which isn't what I was expecting. As he improves to P7 with a 27.8. I guess they will be on wet setup, so that's kind of understandable.
Will be the next man to cross the line.
Vaporizer, yeah. Going very wide on the exit, but not invalidating, so let's see what he can do. A 26.9. That is impressive. It's going to be Alp next. Alp's invalidated.
Is
that Fruitful right behind him? That is Fruitful, who's also invalidated. So quite a lot of invalidations coming in here. We've got J-Sack, who's finished. Then one of the Williams who's also finished.
Rowan,
that's
who's on the way now.
Rowan. Let's see what the IFR driver can do. Clips that apex pretty sweetly. He's now going to pin it full throttle to the line. A 27.1, not bad. As is that Matty coming across the line now. It is P11, and I think that is it for qualifying. I don't think Milan's finished. As has Mentos.
It could possibly be the party mix, where it's set more to party audio than game audio.
Alright. I've changed that now.
I shall mute and see if it's being...
Yeah. Miles better. Good. Good to hear. So, Vaporizer taking pole position, a racing point 1-2, separated by 0.04 of a second, him and Alp, and then Rowan 10th behind the two of them, 10th and a bit. Tom Robbo slightly behind Rowan, and Snipes is in P5. So Snipes and Tom Robbo, who are battling the entire season in EU2 for that championship, starting next to each other on the grid.
Ricky said that's much better now, so I think that was just the issue.
Yeah, that's good. So, Vaporizer on pole, Alp second, Rowan third, Tom fourth, Snipes fifth, Milan sixth, Carter seventh, Fruitful eighth, Fred Head in ninth. That's a good qualifying for the normal AM1 driver, AM2 champion last season, Mentos in 10th, Matty in 11th, Matrix in 12th, and then J-Sack and Andy failed to set a lap, so they are going to start at the back of the grid, which may provide some challenges in the wet weather.
Excuse me.
So, Spud, I want your predict. Oh my God, it is raining. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's monsoon conditions. Prediction. I'm gonna go through Vaporizer and Tom Robbo.
Bold. I think. I don't know. I think I've seen Tom Robbo drive in the wet, and he seems pretty convincing from what I've seen. So I think we could see a good performance from him. I mean, drivers like Vaporizer and Alper are going to be quick in all conditions, so I expect them to be up there as well. So I'm going to go for a Tom Robbo, Vaporizer, and Alp podium. As we are going to get this race underway.
This is going to be a good race. I can already feel it.
Yeah, hopefully
we get a change in the weather towards the end, which could spice up a few strategies. But
yeah, but the rain doesn't look like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. That's for sure.
It's like the weather outside.
So it's not going to let me change camera.
Matty, you said it is heavy rain to
Oh, there
light
we go.
rain. So
Heavy
wet
rain
to
to light rain, so that's wet to wet, yeah. Not great, but yeah, no surprises there. They've all picked the blue-walled wet tyre. Yeah, if you just go on board with all the drivers, you can see just how wet it is, and I mean it's just the formation lap, and they're already struggling. I think Matty Robbo's cursed. Every single session he seems to drive in, it rains.
Whenever he's a reserve,
As Milan's got himself disqualified, and Carter is somewhere back from the rest of the field. Hopefully he closes up.
A lot. Oh, scary.
Yeah. Milan has got himself disqualified, and that'll be a nightmare off the start. As I don't know why Carter's going so slowly. Hopefully he closes that gap to Snipes in front of him, because otherwise that's not very sportsmanlike, you could say, from the McLaren.
No, Fruit was overtaken Carter. He has had enough of the slowness and wants to get it started.
I'm not surprised, I don't blame him. So Vaporizer is going to try and pick out his grid spot in this heavy rain. Obviously they don't have to actually do it, it's the AI, but I can imagine if this was real life there may be a little bit of confusion, as they are going to line up on the grid, as I don't really have a very good camera angle to see the start. And 5 lights go out, but we know the glitch. We know what's going on. So we wait for the revs to build, and they are off. Lights out, and they are going. Vaporizer getting very, very squirmish off the line. As they come down into turn 1, I believe that's Rowan challenging him on the inside. It is. Are they going to go side by side? Oh, there's a lot of wheel bumping. As they're still going side by side. This is respectful racing as Rowan gets the move done up into P1 from P3. So controller OP off the starts, that's for sure. as Alp has dropped from P2 to P4. And if we just have a look at the other position changes, so Jasak's got himself up 3 positions off the start. Alp losing positions as well as Fru and Carter. Matrix down 2 places. As there's some scrapping going on in the midfield, Carter's had a pretty horrendous start, already outside the, well, not DRS because it's not enabled, but pretend DRS window of Milan.
Thankfully, no spinners as such yet.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. Fruitful overtaking Fredhead, getting quite a lot of oversteer as he goes for the move, but gets it done. Up into P8. As I wonder maybe if Carter's got damage, because he is moving pretty slowly. No visible damage on the McLaren. So I wonder if he's maybe on a wet setup or something. As we've
guess he may not have a wet setup and he's using a dry.
Yeah, that's certainly possible, as we've got Mentos and Matty and now Andy going 3 wide into turn 1.
Matty just backing out there in the spot.
Yeah, I think
going 3 wide into that corner is very dangerous.
Yeah, as we're going to get a great view of this battle on board with Matty now, and there's a lot of wheel banging as Andy's gone very deep into the corner and Mentos has retaliated and pushed him deeper on the exit. And now Matty's going to look to go around the outside of Andy. This will be some move if he can pull it off. And he has done. That is a great bit of driving there from the Mercedes. As we've got some more scrapping.
Burning to get back past him. Got the
at the front, Tom Robbo and Vaporizer having a bit of a skirmish. Tom Robbo using quite a lot of ERS. As I'm getting an AWS graphic on my screen at the moment. Not really very useful. I think we all know what tyres we're picking at the moment. So Rowan getting a great start and pulling away quite nicely, as Andy Wu has already picked up 3 seconds of time penalties. That's not going to help when the field are so close together.
With Mentos and Andy are battling. They're battling again as Matty's looking to find a way past, hopefully.
Yeah, as Andy's going round Mentos' outside and goes quite far off the track, which is going to allow Matty back through these 3 trading positions, corner by corner. And Matty may even try it on Mentos now. Nice. Thought better of it.
Anything going on near the front? No.
So quite a lot of drivers choosing to underfuel the car. Tom Robbo being one of them, Rowan being one of them. Carter also choosing to do so, so...
As Fred and Jace, I don't know if you said them too or not.
No, I didn't, I only went through. Oh, we've got a yellow flag, is that Mentos? That is Mentos, he's in the wall. I would guess so. Yeah. I think so, I can't tell. It's too dark and that black front wing is throwing me off. No, he looks to have escaped any visible damage.
Indeed, it was right next to the wall.
Yeah, obviously the walls are quite far away from the racetrack, so you can get away with spinning. As Fruitful has dropped off the back of Carter as Matrix picks up 3 seconds. So the cars are just sort of forming a bit of a procession as Vaporizer sets the fastest lap of the race, possibly coming back to Rowan, even if it is just by a couple of tenths. The Williams getting a good start and establishing his lead early on in this race. So the field has spread out a little bit now.
Jack also takes his 3-second penalty.
Yeah, I'd expect we'd probably be seeing quite a lot of penalties with the track being as slippy as it is. JSAC being the most recent to pick up such punishments. See, in these sort of conditions, you're just relying on the driver in front to make a mistake before you can really think about going for a move, because the spray and just in general hindrance you get from being behind another car is just immense. Like, you can be 2 seconds a lap faster, but being stuck behind another car, you'll be driving at the same pace as them. As Vaporizer. That's Vaporizer. He's made that mistake I was talking about, and Tom Rubber has capitalised. Not splitting the racing points. The racing points are now 3-4. And it is
pits. I think he's into Webber
as he gets 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Obviously,
judging by the amount of pitters, I'm guessing it is.
It's
possibly.
Let's have a look. Details, tyre.
Yeah.
So Jeff's obviously been looking at his weather meter and decided that it is time to box. So Rowan will be the leader still. Well, net leader, assuming everyone pits off these wets, which they will, let's be honest. Tom Rubber's actually stayed out, so that work and getting past Vaporizer may have all come tumbling down in the form of a pit stop.
I've got a feeling Tom may be trying to take these another lap, pit for the inters and come out first, and then just hold track position.
Yeah, well, yeah. He is burning a lot of his ERS, so he's actually 2/10 in the green for his best lap, so he is really pushing to try and not lose that position. I don't know what the pit delta is here, but I would think it's about 21 seconds or so. As
I think he's going to feed out into net P3 when everyone else is pitted, but him as well.
Well, the tyres are looking at these gaps. The tyres are. Oh, he gets 5 seconds.
Gets 5 seconds as well.
This pit lane's hard enough in the dry to not speed into, let alone in the wet, when you're locking up those tyres and speeding through. So let's see now where Tom is going to feed back into. Obviously doesn't have to serve his 5 seconds yet. That'll be on his next stop if he makes one. And is Vaporizer going to jump Tom? It's going to be close. Ooh, and they're going to come out side by side. No, they're not. Tom just stays in front. So Tom has just done enough, but Vaporizer now already had this lap on his tyres, so we'll be feeling a little bit more comfortable on them. And let's see if he can strike. He's in striking distance, you would say, should Tom get a little bit of oversteer, as Vaporizer himself has actually just done, so possibly a bit of a commentator's curse there. As the field is slightly spread out now after those pit stops and differing strategies. We've got Alp a little way behind Vaporizer, and then Milan, Snipes and Carter in their own little train. And then JSAC and Fruitful are with each other as well, so... Oh, as we've got a spin, or is that Mentos again? It is Mentos again in the same place, I believe, so... Doesn't like that corner. The exit onto the back straight. It's not been the the best way to start in contest of speed for the Ecos driver. Now 25 seconds behind anyone else, and possibly with damage.
I was daydreaming. I didn't even know what was happening. Completely forgot what I was doing.
I can't blame you. This race is far from the excitement fest I was expecting. I was kind of expecting it to be dry when I picked France for these drivers to race around, but
Milan takes his 3-second penalty.
yeah, and at the moment that's gonna
window of snipes to strike him.
Yeah, that's gonna drop him down a couple of positions as it stands. So, as Snipes and Carter
also get penalties.
Get 3 seconds. So never mind. They're all the same.
Stay where they are.
As Rowan has pulled some gap.
I should know yet, do it.
Yeah, Rowan's 5/10 purple. So, hang on a minute.
Could possibly do no fastest lap.
Yeah. He's certainly looking comfortable in these wet conditions.
Is there anything happening midfield or back? Mentos getting a 3-second penalty and swerving all over the road.
Yeah, we've got Alp now joining Vaporizer and Tom. As Rowan sets the fastest lap of the race, a 41.7. Can I see the fastest lap? I don't think I can. I think that's only in qualifying.
41.7.
Right.
Rowan. If you check the gap and it comes up on there.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, so Rowan, the only one to dip into the 41s, as we've got a spin again, and it's Mentos again not having fun in the rain. But fair play to him for, I say, sticking in it, but I think this could be the fateful drive to retire into the pits, which I can't blame him, that's for sure, if he does choose to do so. He's not retired yet, so maybe just sticking on a fresh set of tyres and going for a spin. Yeah, he's just pitting for fresh tyres and a new wing, actually, so fair play to Mentos sticking in this race. Nice to see some resilience. Alp is actually net P2 here, given he has no time penalties, and I think we may possibly have a bit of a multi-21 situation here at Racing Point. Alp is slightly faster than Vaporizer at the moment, you would say. Vaporizer dropping off the back of Tom Robbo now, and Alp in Vaporizer dirty air, but I certainly wouldn't expect Vaporizer to be letting Alp past. I don't really think it's that serious, as Alp gets quite a lot of oversteer, manages to keep it on the grey stuff.
Mentos is gone again.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in qualifying, him having a dry setup of not seeing the weather or something like that, because he was going to set a lap on mediums, and I think this is coming back to haunt him now, as he's been lapped nearly now by the whole field, as Alp and Vaporizer are going at it, as Vaporizer has conceded the position to Alp. So Alp now will be looking to push on. to the back of TRT Tom. He could, in theory, just stick in this current window.
Oh, as Mentos has sadly gone again into the barrier and lost part of his front left.
Yeah, that's some hefty wind damage. He won't be staying out with that wind damage for sure. As I wonder, is he going to pit? Well, he's obviously going to pit.
I think he's going to stay in the race. Don't know.
Oh. As he retires, fairly enough. Oh, Tom gets another 3 seconds. So that is going to drop him now down to P4 from P2 as it stands. So he's either going to need to hope that Alp and Vaporizer pick up penalties, as Alp has actually just picked up a penalty. But still, Alp will jump in as it stands. So now the only members of the field not to get a penalty are Rowan, Fred and Matty. Rowan really, I want to say dominating, because it is just a 2-second gap, but he is driving very, very convincingly.
Great wet pace. Keeping it calm around the corners, not getting on the throttle too early and enjoying it.
Yeah, I think if you can get into a nice rhythm in a wet race and putting consistent lap after consistent lap, you do start to enjoy it. But if you're in a position like Mentos where you can't keep the car on the grey stuff, then it starts to become quite a drag. As Andy has closed up to the back of JSAC, but with 16, 15, 14 now % ERS, he may struggle to make a move past JSAC, who has some battery stacked up. However, it is quite easy to regain in the wet, so if he just sticks in this window and recharges for a bit of time, then he could find himself in a position to make a move. So Alp now, after a fairly poor start, dropping 2 positions down to P4 from P2, is starting to close back up to Tom Robbo ever so slightly.
I don't really know what to say. Not much happened.
Yeah, it's like we're watching a practice session. They're just sort of driving around. I mean, that's what they do all the time, but usually it is a little more exciting than this, but not every race can be a thriller. But hopefully they're having fun. As long as they're having fun, I guess we're having fun. And one man who should be having fun is Rowan. Still got 70% ERS and he's just cruising. I mean, I don't want to say too much in case I put some spell on him. But for now, he seems fairly comfortable. However, Thomas has closed up a little bit, but with 6 seconds of penalties and still a 1.4 second gap, Rowan wouldn't really be worried now.
I've got a feeling Fred might be looking to strike Andy down this back straight. He's only half a second off him. Is he going to burn? He's burning.
He is, yeah, and yeah, he's not going to be close enough. Fred's doing a fairly solid job, that's for sure. AM2 last season, I think probably the most dominant performance in any of the tiers, championship-wise. As Andy gets a lot of oversteer and pulls to the side. Hang on a minute.
DRS has just been activated. Could we possibly see dry tyres at some point?
Nah, surely not. It's still absolutely belting it down. No way they're going to box for dries. That's a horrible sound. I apologise.
Is Rowan taking the gamble for the mediums?
Yeah. Hang on a minute.
Hards.
Yeah, they've all gone hard. So I think you can take mediums to the end from here usually. Snipes has gone mediums, yeah. So Jeff must have. Honestly, this is one of the weirdest things I've seen on a Codemasters game. I mean, I'm not surprised.
This first sector looks worse for the rain at the minute compared to the stop-start straight.
I mean, there is a bit of a usual pace difference between Andy and Rowan. No offence to Andy, I think he'll agree with me on that. But Rowan is actually faster than the intermediate runners. So, I mean, usually if it is currently raining, then it's just a no-go for dry tyres. Like if it's been raining and it's still raining. But Jeff has clutched up on the strategy.
Between Alp and Rowan has taken a lot of time out of him.
Yeah, so it's
nearly a second.
I'm delighted with the fact that it's gone to dry tyres. Hopefully that means we'll see some more action, as long as it stops raining. But yeah, that's quite odd.
We have J-Sack, Fred and Matty who have gone soft. I don't know if he'll be stopping again after this stint.
This Alps actually pitted for medium tyres, so yeah, I think mediums go to the end from about lap 11 or so around France in a normal dry race. But yeah, odd one. As Snipes just set the fastest lap on the medium tyres, and it has stopped raining now. So halfway through the race, I thought we were going to see a full wet race.
Rowan has pulled 7 seconds to the person in second. Tom had to serve 5 seconds, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So
Rowan currently,
as has Vaporizer, and if you look, I mean, he doesn't have a penalty, so gain those positions back. But track position-wise, Vaporizer has lost out massively, dropping down behind Milan and Snipes.
Coming up behind Tom. Robbo pulls out to the left-hand side, overtakes him. Job done from Sir Alp.
Yeah, no real surprise there. I think Alp will be. I think he'll catch Rowan, probably, given the medium advantage. However, with the time penalty situation as it is, I can't see Alp winning the race. But, I mean, Alp is one of the fastest drivers on the game, so anything can happen. That's for sure. Yeah, so hopefully we'll see some action now. We've got Carter 2/10 behind Fruitful, and JSAC 2/10 behind Carter, so this could get quite spicy. JSAC will certainly not want to waste time sitting behind hard runners on these soft tyres, as he's gonna know he's not gonna burn, but he will surely be thinking about lining up a move on Carter and then Fruitful at some point soon as... Carter! I think Carter just got wing damage.
3 seconds for corner cut.
I did see a bit of wing fly off.
Wide, unless it was Harbour.
Maybe he bashed a bollard or something, but I did see a bit of something fly off.
His wing looks...
Oh, it's JSAC. It's JSAC's wing. So JSAC has, unfortunately for him, has taken some wing damage here, but he can just pit to the mediums and go to the end, so it's not the end of the world. He'll have a bit of work to do, but it is doable. As Carter is still harassing Fruitful, he's going to burn a lot of ERS, pull round to the outside, nearly going off the track. And they're going to go side by side. It's not letting me change camera. There we go. They're still side by side as Fruitful's got the inside line. He's going to leave some nice room there for Carter. Push him slightly off the track on the exit. Carter is going to still hang it in there on the inside as they bash wheels and Fruitful goes wide. Presume he got a warning for that. Did cut the corner and did gain a little bit of time on Carter there. A little bit naughty from Fruitful, but it's just a bit of fun. Carter is...
Fred right on the gearbox of JSAC. Possibly looking for the overtake.
Yeah, JSAC's not actually pitted. I would have presumed he's just pitting the auto mediums. He's going to lose hell of a lot of time as Fruitful does get 3 seconds, which is not going to help. But I mean, to be honest,
side by side.
Yeah, still going side by side here. Milan's got another 3 seconds. That's not going to help. As Fred does get the move done on JSAC. Obviously, JSAC having wing damage.
I see Fruitful. Rain again,
oh, Snipes and Milan are trading positions, actually. Yeah, you do see Rain again.
Oh, no.
You do. Oh, no.
This is why some people have gone soft.
Yeah, that would explain it. And if... You know, if Fred can catch up to the likes of Carter and Fruitful before we pit back to wets, which I presume we will be doing, Milan and Snipes. Yeah, I mean, does Milan... Is that just the rain? Yeah, that is just the rain, but...
Yeah.
Oh, Carter and Fruitful again going at it. Fruitful keeps the position for now, but... The track's going to get greasy quite quickly again. Yeah, Carter's...
burning a lot to try and get in front of Fruit's just keeping himself planted.
Yeah,
Probably
Carter's...
burning down the straight to keep him away and then...
Yeah, he's not messing around. It's the McLaren, he wants to fight, you can tell. He's got a lot of straight line speed, actually. Oh, he's going to hit Fruitful and send Fruitful round. I think, yeah, I got quite a nice onboard of that. I think Fruitful possibly turned in, but then again, Carter did only poke his nose in as Fruitful's spinning around, and he's going to lose a lot of positions there. Yeah, possibly a bit of a half-hearted move from Carter. Didn't really, you know, never really...
Probably waited for the back straight and got him down there. But
yeah, he just sort of poked his nose in, and I don't know whether Fruitful's proximity arrows will have ever gone red, but it was a late move and quite uncommitted, so not very clean of Carter, you might say, but we're not doing incidents, and I'm sure Fruitful won't be too fussed. It is just a bit of fun at the end of the day. Let's go on board with Rowan, the race leader, and let's just have a look at how the track is feeling.
We have Matty and Andy currently fighting. Matty just on the gearbox of Andy right behind him. Might think about going for a move, but not too sure.
Yeah, probably not in Sector 3 unless Andy makes a serious mistake. Matty would have to be quite ballsy to do that.
It's getting much heavier.
Yeah, I think we'll be looking back at wet tyres by the end of the race, that's for sure. As you can see now, drivers are struggling, and let's just have a look at Rowan. Let's see how he's feeling in these conditions. He still seems fairly steady. But yeah, I mean, I don't know whether surely Jeff wouldn't have recommended hards if it was gonna rain enough for wet tyres, but then again, it is Codemasters, and there are some people who went to softs, but they maybe were just gonna do soft. Yeah, it's a weird one, I have to say. As Fred now has actually closed up to the back of Carter. I wonder if Carter has got wing damage, given his collision with Fruitful. He's struggling a fair bit. Quite twitchy.
Surely they can't finish this race on these tyres if this rain gets any worse.
Yes, they pit Fredhead and Carter and JSAC all pit.
Could this be a gamble? Because DRS is still open for people to use, so...
Yeah, I think ideally you want to be pitting like the lap before DRS gets enabled. I think gets disabled. That's ideally when you want to pit. But now let's have a look if we compare Fruitful and Carter in this situation. Let's have a look at how the times compare as instantly.
Yeah, Carter's just taken half a second.
Yeah. Into the first proper braking zone.
Times, he is currently 5 seconds down on his time. I think we could possibly see Inters for everyone this or maybe next lap.
Yeah, Carter is, compared to Fruitful, Carter is looking very comfortable. Taking about 7/10 of him just in the first half of the track, so...
Yes, Rowan comes into the pits.
Yeah, Rowan pits, we will be seeing everyone follow him, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to the procession. Hopefully we may see some more moves, people. Yeah, DRS has been disabled, so...
Perfect timing.
Yeah, I think perfect timing for the guys who've pitted now, if I'm being honest. I think as Matrix picks up 3 seconds, that's not going to affect his race. I think he'll be in 13th, whatever happens, but staying in the race, what we like to see. So Alp now, actually, given how bad his start was, has actually done quite a nice job. But Rowan's pace in the wet earlier was unmatched, if we're being honest. As we've got some scrapping in and out the pits. No, they're just going up and down.
Well, was Andy and Jason? Oh, Jason almost hit Andy as he's coming out of the pit, but Andy managed to keep his car in front.
Yeah. So this is the only real close encounter. I mean, the rain is looking... I mean, we can have a look. Let's compare his interval times to Fruitful in the next few laps, but... Yeah. Jasak and Fred are the only real drivers who are close together, as Alp's flying. Half a second out of Rowan since they've pitted, but with that 3 seconds, he's going to need to get past and get 3 seconds in 7 laps. Well, let's be honest, 6 laps. He's not really in a window to make an overtake here, unless he closes up a little bit more.
The interval times between Fruit and Matrix. Matrix has lost a second.
Yeah, let's have a look. On board with Matrix. I mean, it may get heavier. I don't know what the forecast is saying, but if the rain does get heavier and Matrix has chucked on the wets early, I don't think he's going to gain any positions. However, yeah, it could be the right call. Could have been the right call had he been in higher positions. As Carter picks up 3 seconds, so that's for sure going to drop him behind Fredhead now, I believe. 9 seconds of penalties, yeah, unless Fredhead does something seriously wrong, then Carter should get overtaken by him near the end. And Alp, talking about getting in the window for an overtake, he has done so. 4/10 of a second now, separating him and Rowan. 3 stops in this race, so it has actually, strategy-wise, been fairly exciting, you could say. Quite a lot of pit stops, but on track, not much drama. Not many overtakes, but what can you do? When these drivers are so closely matched in terms of pace, there are always going to be issues with the amount of overtakes and trains forming.
Alp got a nice run out of that final corner, taking nearly 2/10 out of Rowan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main straight, well, the back straight is going to be the only real place you can think about making an overtake in these sort of conditions. Unless Rowe makes a mistake, as Alp gets very close to his gearbox. I wonder, is Alp going to get the run he needs through the long right-hander? Flat out through the left, and no, Rowan has just absolutely zoomed through that section of the track, so Alp's not going to be close enough here. But should his exit be good enough from the chicane, I would maybe think he could possibly try it into the flat-out right-hander, which would just be ludicrous in these conditions, but, you know, the gloves are off in these post-season fun races, so he may try anything.
I thought Fred was close to making a move on Carter down the back straight. I was watching that, but it wasn't as close as I thought.
Yeah, I think Fred may just think about sitting in behind Carter. I don't think he'll want to risk throwing away a decent result, to be honest, for
Matty takes 3 seconds.
for Fred in this tier. Yeah, Matty takes 3 seconds, but I don't really think that was gonna affect him. Yeah, he was already 5 seconds, and he's already on 6 now. Fruitful's actually very close to Matty. Wonder if we'll maybe see a move there. Oh, was Vaporizer and Milan are going at it. As Milan's let Vaporizer go, or Vaporizer's maybe just zoomed past him. However, Vaporizer now up into P6 and needs 2/10 of a second to catch
did not
up.
see that Fred had cleared Carter, so he's going to be hunting down Milan, trying to get P6 if he can get in a 6-second window.
Yeah, Fred's showing some impressive pace. He's very, very impressive today, I have to say. So Fruitful still oversteering everywhere behind Matty Robbo. Gonna make a move, maybe, for P11. As Carter's possibly... Oh, Alps, yeah. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, stuck the nose in nearly there, but thought better of it.
Getting feisty at the front for the last 4 laps.
Yeah, and as Carter picks up another 3 seconds as he's very, very close to Fred. Maybe he may try not a kamikaze move, that's a bit violent, but maybe try send on Fred and just see if he can upset Fred fairly.
Chase also picks up another 3 seconds, so his hopes of jumping Andy will now have to be on the track instead of sitting behind him.
Yeah.
Unless Andy gets another penalty, of course.
And Alp, I think, has got to get the move done, really. Now, if he wants any chance of pulling... Oh, as Tom gets 6 seconds, but that's actually not going to affect him as it stands. So Alp now not burning the ERS, neither is Rowan. Yeah, and Alp's, if he wants any chance of winning this race, he's got to get the move done this or next lap, because otherwise he's just going to simply not have the laps left to pull that gap.
No, I thought Fred was closing up on Milan, but still 9 seconds adrift. But if you
Yeah.
can gain 3 more seconds in these last, 4 laps, I think Fred could be on for a decent P6.
Yeah, or maybe hope that Milan picks up another 3-second time penalty. But he's currently being pressured, Fred, by Carter, who has gone off the track. And for a second there, I thought Carter wasn't going to be able to slow that thing down, but he manages to. Rules Andy gets 3 seconds, so now Jasak will actually get Andy on penalties. As Alp is very, very close to spinning the car around there. Still not being able to get past Rowan, so Rowan doing enough here to nullify the threat of Alp. As Vaporizer gets 3 seconds, so that's going to ruin his chances of getting P4 for now, unless you can pull out a magical last couple laps in this race.
Rowan's car has got immense straight line speed.
Yeah, he is pretty slow through the corners, or maybe that's just Alp being really fast through the corners, but I wonder if Rowan has maybe elected for a little bit of a hybrid here. Obviously, you know, as long as your setup's not completely wrong, you're not going to be getting overtaken mid-corner, so if you can just maximise that straight line speed, and, you know, at the end of the day, no one's getting past you, and he did what he needed to do on lap 1, put himself in P1 off the start, and he's been there ever since. Oh, as we've got Carter and Fred actually going side by side. And if I was Fred, to be honest, I'd just be backing out here, but he's not going to. He's going to hang it in there on the inside of Carter. They're still side by side going into Sector 3. Yeah, and Fred, I think, does the smart thing. Oh, actually goes for a switchback. Oh. What a move if he can pull this off from Fred. He can. He goes down the inside. That is one of the best moves I've seen in a long time. Obviously, France, in real life, you'd never see that sort of stuff happening, but on the game, it can promote some great moments like that, that's for sure. As Alp now has... Oh, that's horrible. But he's now closing up to the back of Rowan, and yeah, as Carter gets another 3 seconds, and he's throwing everything at Fred now for no real reason. Let's be honest, I think whatever happens, Fred will just jump Carter on penalties, but Fred done really, really well. Only driver other than the current leader to get no penalties. As Carter's still harassing Fred, and he's going to go around the outside into the chicane. And this is quite nice racing. I hope they can keep it respectful till the end. As Fred's surely not going to try it on the inside. That would just be silly. Please don't do it. Oh, he's done it. Carter's left him the space. Fair enough, it is difficult to leave the space in that corner. Carter for now has the position, but I mean, we've seen it for the last portion of this race. Fred will not give up that position on track. He wants to finish P7 on track. As Alp now is... Yeah, I can't go on board with him because of the revving glitch, but he's 1/10, 2/10 behind. And I think I was right about Rowan being on a bit of a hybrid. He's pretty slow through the corners compared to Alp, whereas Alp is just... But Rowan's just, look at that.
Nice snap of oversteer, which would going to make him lose time. More or less keep Rowan in the lead. As Rowan's got to hold on and take victory.
Yes, Rowan's still got a nice bit of ERS left, which is going to be burning here, and as is Alp, but Rowan's just got that speed advantage, as we said. as Alp may possibly look to make the move here. He's going to go very, very deep, get on the power early. For the left-hander, gets quite a lot of oversteer. He's going to take the narrow line, but he can't make it work. So Rowan, I think, from now, yeah, he should hold on. As Rowan rounds the final corner, turns on the overtake button, and by 0.5 of a second on track, he's going to win in France in the wet. Great drive there from Rowan. Alp comes P2, couldn't quite do it as Tom crashes over the line in P3.
Span. He's tried to go around the outside of Matt into the long right-hander and just...
Finishes P4, Vaporizer 0.6 behind. And yeah, Milan P6. Carter is going to finish P7 on track as he crosses over. Oh, he's retired.
Oh.
Well, I mean, he was always just going to drop positions anyway. But
I think Jay's had run out of fuel.
Not the smartest thing from Carter, but if that was a real COS race, he would certainly be getting penalised for that. That would be a race ban, but as this is just a post-season event, he escapes. So, a fairly boring race. It was got quite spicy in the middle, but you know, they can't all be exciting as Rowan on the top step of the podium. So, Rowan, P1, no penalties. Got in front on lap 1 and led from lap 1 to the finish. Pretty standard drive there from Rowan. Very, very impressive. Alp P2 gave Rowan a good challenge, but couldn't quite manage to do it. Tom Robbo P3. Nice drive there from Tom, P4 to P3. Snipes P4. Yeah, good start in EU1 for those two. Vaporizer P5. Got fairly unlucky today with pit stops and traffic and stuff. Milan P6. Fred, impressive stuff in P7. Recently promoted to AM1. Very nice. Andy in P8. Matty in P9. Picking up a points finish. Not bad. Fruitful in P10. Pretty poor race on Fruitful standards. JSAT P11. Carter DNFing, actually. And then Matrix. Oh, wait, no, Carter actually got classified. Yeah, but DNF'd over the line. So Carter P12, Matrix P13, and Mentos DNFing in P14. So that is going to be it for the stream tonight. Thank you for all joining us. We will be back next week on Monday for another EU4 post-season event. Thank you for watching and good night.